Howdy folks. I'm not used to doing these things on the phone. Apparently this morning's little bit while I was driving fell out, so I apologise. I don't know that I could have done anything more. I was on a what I thought was a very good service area, but apparently talking about Charlie, my video got stopped. So apologies for that. I don't know. I haven't been able to check yet whether or not it's actually uploaded the whole thing. I will make an attempt to check that out when I get home a bit later on today, but still got a little bit left ahead of me yet. Probably got another 2 hours driving before I get to where I've got to be, and then got to get home in time for a show. So that's why I'm doing this now. Some interesting things which I didn't mention this morning, but I probably should have. Probably one of the more interesting ones is the American budget. The United States federal budget has not been approved. That means that the government is now essentially locked down, and 700,000 workers inside the government have been put on furlough. I guess that means don't call us, we'll call you when you can come back to work. It also means none of them are getting paid. That's probably a bad thing if you're one of those workers. However, if you view America from a economic perspective, this is pretty good. It's essentially zero balanced the American budget. If they were to not re-employ, let's say 300,000 of the 700,000 workers who are currently furloughed, that's a huge budget saving. All of the money that goes into the black projects, all of the money that goes into the NGOs, all of the money that goes into climate crap and supporting the arguments of climate crap, all of that stops because there is no approved budget. And in that budget is black money. Now, why hasn't it been approved? Well, the Democrats playing hardball. The Democrats want to add $1.5 trillion permanently to the budget. That would pay for Obamacare subsidies, and bearing in mind that at the moment, under the Democrats, Obamacare was allowed to be used pretty broadly with no cap on your earnings. So you could earn $200,000, $300,000 a year in America and still get Medicare, Obamacare, which in America they don't think is particularly fair because there are so many people who don't have incomes like $300,000 a year who don't get any Medicaid or Medicare help at all. So this is going to put an interesting twist in the shank of things in the US for the little while. If there is an American budget, I can't pay any bills. If there's no money in the bank, they can't pay the bills. But more than that, they have to have people working in the offices to pay the bills, and there are none working in the offices to pay the bills. This might be, just between you, me, and the gatepost, an ideal opportunity for AI systems to come to the fore running the US economy. They would be able to balance the books almost immediately by this budget shutdown. And I'm not exactly sure where it would leave them on the international stage. We know America is bankrupt. So what this would do further down the track, I guess I need to have a conversation with Cass about to try and ascertain how that would really play out in the financial world. But at the moment, I think it's a very interesting twist, and the Democrats will be going spare because all the money that they need to keep their little black projects going, the Antifas, the climate crap arguments, the black money that's being paid to the smugglers that are bringing people across or have been bringing people across the southern border. I don't think there's too many getting across the southern border anymore, but there are a lot coming through the northern border with Canada. So America's border force is working with Canada's supposed border force to try and slow those down a bit. President Trump, I think, just keeps throwing petrol onto that fire, in that Canada and their new Prime Minister have been into the States recently asking for a bit of help when it comes to these trade tariffs and all that sort of stuff. And Trump just said, no, this is what you did to our economy. And what he was talking about when he was referring to examples was Chinese cars. Now, there was a tariff put on cars manufactured outside of North America, of which Canada falls into. So what was happening was Canada was getting Chinese-built cars partly built and having them shipped to Canada, where they were having their boot lids fitted to the cars, and that classed as being made in Canada. So it didn't attract a tariff. Well, Trump got in, that changed immediately. And Canada are really feeling it, because there is obviously a lot of cross-border trade between Canada and the US, and the US have basically said, no, you tried screwing us, we're not playing that game. And
police reported ahead.
Thank you so much. And even then, Trump came out yesterday and said, wouldn't it be better, Canada, if you just came and joined us? Wouldn't it be better if you became the 51st state? You'd get it all for free. I don't think that actually impressed the Canadian representatives in any way, shape or form. But, well, remains to be seen. I think Australia is probably the 51st state. Canada can be the 52nd. And speaking of being the 51st state, there has been a little late mail since we spoke earlier this morning regarding the Marines. The Marines are coming. Well, they've already been here for a few years. You'll probably be aware that we have a permanent Marine task force based in Darwin that rotates through between 10 and 15,000 Marines a time. They'll come out and do 6 months here, and then a new lot will come out. That's basically how they're working. A 6-month deployment to Darwin, and both the Air Force base there and at Tyndall, south of Darwin or north of Katherine. Well, they're coming a little further south. Another Marine Expeditionary Force is going to be located this time in Queensland, and this time in Toowoomba, which is much further south than I would have expected them to be. I would have thought, particularly given that the Marine Task Force that's going to be deployed to Queensland is going to be an MV-22 Osprey group, meaning there will be a lot of tilt-rotor aircraft coming out here. Now, I've only cursorily glanced at the story. They are saying Toowoomba as the base for this new Marine Expeditionary Force, and there is a beautiful airport, very suitable for purpose, and essentially barracks right beside that Air Force for 3,000 people. There's going to be 10,000 of them coming, I think, but 3,000 people right beside the Wagner Airport in Toowoomba. That would be the concentration centre that was built under the Pluckaduck government here during the Spicy Cough era, and she wound up giving it away, as I mentioned the other day, to the Wagners. $390 million worth of Queensland taxpayer and Australian taxpayer money got into that, and she gave it to the people who built it. So they got paid to build it and then got given it. She's going out with one of the brothers or one of the relatives or one of the whatevers it is. There's a filth, a lot of filth. However, that particular airport is not what you'd call